My experience was a good experience. I volunteered to join the United States Air Force. It was a 4-year commitment. I joined when I was 17 years old. I was just a kid. And I would like to make the point that most of the people in the military in the Vietnam War were just kids. We were, 17, 18, 19 years old. It was a war that was, primarily fought by kids. But having said that, it was a good experience. I matured, I learned a trade. I was an aircraft mechanic. And I was stationed in Thailand at Tak Ly Air Force Base. And our primary mission was, bombing Vietnam 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I was a jet mechanic on F-105 Thunder Chief. That was the name of the airplane. I was in the Air Force, so we were spoiled. We had what would amount to like a college dormitory. It was very nice in the middle of nowhere. We were 145 miles northwest of Bangkok. It was, really out in the jungle where they had an Air Force base. It was called the Royal Thai Air Force. And the conditions were, were very good because the Americans went in there and, we built ice plants. We built beautiful barracks, and we had swimming pools and nightclubs. We had the officers club.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very nice. That's why if any kids are listening out there, join the Air Force. Don't join the Army. Well, it was a job where every day we were loading bombs on planes, and I worked on the flight line, and the planes used to take off, go bomb Vietnam, North Vietnam, and then they would turn around and come back. It was about a 4 or 5 hour deal, and several times I was there for 1 year, and several times during that year, I did witness planes, crashing, and people being, that didn't survive. A couple of pilots, and that was one of the things that stuck in my mind. That it was, it was really, really dangerous. Not so much for me, although I was around planes with bombs all the time, and but for the guys flying the planes, it was very dangerous. In the war, Liz, most of us, like your father, myself, and kids my age, all had, fathers. 90% of them were in World War II. So we were raised, we were very patriotic, and when the call came, to go in the service, most of the guys that went went willingly. So I was patriotic, and I thought I was helping the cause. It was all good. It was a positive 4 years. I got a lot of discipline. I picked up a lot of good skills, and it was just absolutely a positive experience. And it served me well for the rest of my life. Well, they really at that time, Liz, they weren't so much into, like today they're into all the
PTSD and stuff like that.
The stress, and back in 1968, 69, it was like that was one of the bad things. Those guys went from like you'd be on the battlefield, and in World War II they used to send you on a boat, and it took you 3 months to get home, so you had a lot of time to decompress. But in Vietnam, they put you right on an airplane, and 20 hours later you're walking around the streets of your hometown, and there wasn't much going on at that time. But as I said, I was in the Air Force, so I didn't have any difficulty adjusting. Also, the other thing you should remember, there was a draft.
Yeah.
They were drafting people. Can you fathom like a 17-year-old kid's going to war? Could you even think of that?
No, not today. No. I'm 17. I couldn't think of it.
No, everybody gets tired of hearing it from me, but when I was 17 years old, I was 15,000 miles from home.
Yeah, it's...
And I wasn't the only one. There were so many, and we were just kids, but we didn't know any different. And we were there working on airplanes, loading bombs, just kids. And that's what war is, and that's the shame of war, is that it's always kids.
Yeah.
When you hear about all these people getting killed, they're just kids. And that's who goes to war. So, that's, to me, is something that's, just doesn't seem right. All young kids fighting a war. And then, when we got back from Vietnam, they wanted to spit on you. Today they come back, thank God, they walk through an airport, people start clapping for them.
Yeah.
But
it was different, right?
Oh, back then it was like, no, you were like No, it was bad. You know, guys came back and they would like take off their uniforms. They wouldn't even wear them. They would, you know, they made you wear them to get on the plane, and then when they got off the planes, they would take off the uniforms and throw them in the garbage. They wouldn't wear them because people were like spitting on people. You know, the hippies, they were around. You know, they were calling baby killers.
Yeah.
You know, but in every war there's atrocities. But to say that everybody that went over there did that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, World War II, there were so many incidents. The Civil War, every war. War is hell. Who said that?
I think that was one of the worst parts of Vietnam War, is how unpatriotic the country became before the guys came back.
Yeah, well, that was just, you know, I lived through it, Liz. It was just an insane time. You know, Bobby Kennedy got assassinated, JFK, Martin Luther King. You know, I was like an 18-year-old kid with all, you know, it's like you're looking around like, what's going on with the world? Yeah, and then there was, you know, riots at the convention, the Democratic convention. They were beating people. Yeah, it was just, it was a nutty time. It was like, there wasn't too many patriotic people. You know. Then we had, you know, Nixon came along and he was a crook.
Yeah.
So it was a terrible time, terrible time. But we all survived.
It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know or wasted it.